Hey you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the interview. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, oh, and hit my Cash App to support your favorite content creator. Now let's get to the interview. Mwah.
Let me tell you something. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. You're a bougie bitch and your mama is too. Said you're a bougie bitch and your mama is too.
Salutations, Dufos. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming to you with another special presentation. Moving full speed ahead, getting to know amazing, amazing people that I may not have known before, or I might have seen them on social media, and I've invited them to chat with me, and it has been going so well. I've been speaking to a lot of you guys and, learning your stories and learning what makes you tick and how you were brought up. And it's just been so amazing to not only learn from you, but to share with you. Having said that, I have another beautiful soul that you need to meet. This young woman is acquainted with me and has been acquainted with me, and I had no idea until I decided to go over there and cause some fire and ruckus on TikTok. And then we bumped into each other, and now she's here today to talk with all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Monica Moore. Hi, baby. Listen, I'm so happy to have you. I don't do too many women. I got to get better. I'm all, you've been following me, so I'm always talking to the boys. But it's so great to have a Black woman here.
Thank you.
Yes, it's just, I love Black women.
As do I.
Yes, and it's just okay. All right. But yes, it's just so amazing, the magic that a Black woman has. I was actually looking at a meme that someone sent me, and it's going viral right now. There was a baby that climbed up really high in some kind of like fun house and got scared, and the mom shimmied up a pole and went and got her daughter, put her daughter on her lap on the pole and slid back down. And I was just like, the love of a mother. And the comments were going off because they were saying, I was doing videos before this for TikTok, so that's why I'm a little shiny. But they were saying, oh, she worked for P-Valley, or she worked in the club. She no stranger to the pole. But I didn't care, because whatever she did, she loved her daughter enough to, be there for her. So where are you hailing us from, Miss Moore? Where are you hailing us from?
I am currently in Houston, Texas.
Ooh, so I know it's hot there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God, it is. Oh my God. Have you lived there your entire life?
For the majority, I used to live in Virginia when I was about between the ages of 3 and 5, but then we got into a few sticky situations and had to come back home. Yeah. And I've been here ever since.
Wow. Okay. So you've gone to school there. Did you graduate? I know you graduated high school, but did you go to college, or did you go straight into the workforce?
I went to a technical school before they kind of closed down. So yeah, okay. I kind of went to college.
Okay. So the technical school closed down. Why? Because of COVID?
No, because they were shut down by the Obama administration for predatory lending practices. It was actually ICT Technical Institute. Please don't sue me, but yeah.
Well, listen, you said who it was. I mean, that's a matter of public record. As long as we don't get into no details, we cool. But yeah, so wow. So what did you manage to do after that? So they shut down. What did you manage to do after that?
I got me a job in my field for a little bit, but then I kind of got pulled away because I was also kind of delving into spirituality at that time, because I was finding out more about myself. Side note, like, I'm trans, so I didn't really have language for that until I was in college, and that's pretty much when I kind of just dove headfirst into that, and then that led me into spirituality, which led me into a lot of other things, and it just became hard to stay at a job for such a long period of time because I started to really just see how controlling and constricting everything kind of was. And so it kind of played with my mind for a little bit. So
Wow.
I've been back and forth between work and other things.
Okay. Now, did I hear you right? You said you were trans?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. I
Oh,
didn't
yes,
know.
ma'am.
I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure I heard you so that everybody knows she's trans. All right. More power to you. I'm so happy. Let's see. I'm so happy for our community. We love each other. That's why I had to have you on here. I didn't even know that. That's why I said, okay, let me just clarify. Yeah. So get this. The reason why I asked you to interview, first of all, I was very flattered you found me on TikTok, and it was, your message to me after I reached out to you. You were like, listen, I'm acquainted with you. I know exactly who you are, and I know what you do and your videos. And it just was such an amazing outpour of love and respect. It was mutual. So it was that, and I do that with everybody I meet. One thing about me that you will never find is arrogance, because arrogance is weakness displayed as strength, or disguised as strength. And it's never a good way to be. It's a way to be lonely, isolated, unhappy, and insecure about the world around you. So I was just very happy to connect with you. And then get this, I saw a video of yours, and I didn't want to go into it immediately because it was an emotional video, but it's why I asked you to interview, because you and I have a lot in common, more in common than I think you'll even know, but you're going to find out today. So in that video, it's the one where you were sitting on your bed and you were talking about suicidal thoughts. You were talking about generational mental illness, and you were talking about basically the demons passing from your mother to the child, or a mother to the child, and then the family not being supportive, and then them being and then ending up having to fight your own family, and it rang with me. It resonated with me. So can you, without crying, because I didn't want to do this to you so early, I wanted us to talk, but this is the reason why, because I believe I have some things to say to you from the divine. So I want to make sure I get them out. So tell everyone what you were saying in that video.
So pretty much in that video, like I said, I had just had to quit my job because of a falling out that I had with my cousin, where she felt I overstepped my boundaries and misspoke or spoke out of turn. And so she pretty much told me that from this point on, I had to find my own way to work. But prior to that, she knew that she was my only way. So that was the reason for me taking the job that I had. And so at that point, it just felt like everything was just falling like at once. I had just moved into my own apartment, which was something that I have always been trying and struggling so hard to accomplish. And I finally got there, and it seems like in an instant, everything was being taken away. And I try not to ask for help, because as a child, whenever I would reach out for help, never the physical kind of help, but like emotional, mental, like spiritual matters of the heart, I never got it. So it put me in a position to whereas I knew I could not rely on these people for help. But as I got older, I started to see some of the ways that I was living my life was a reflection of the ways that like my mom lives or my grandmother. And the more I sat with myself, I started to see the reason that they're acting this way is because they're battling these demons too. And so that's when I came to the realization that I am my mother's child. I inherited her demons, not to speak that over myself, but it's like I see the similarities. Even though I wasn't raised by my mother, I still see a lot of similarities between us because we do share those generational curses and those generational demons. And one thing that I did realize is that when those demons are not brought to light, in the Black community, we love to sweep things underneath the rug and pretend like it doesn't happen. What stays in my house or what happens in my house stays in my house. And so it's one of those things where sometimes it's like you have to open the door. You have to open the windows. You have to shake the rug because you never know what's under there. You never know what's lurking in the dark, in the closet, underneath the bed. And these are some scary monsters because they never attack when you're around everybody else. They always seem to get you when you're alone
Yes.
and when you're at your lowest place. That's when they come out with the claws and things. And so I just realized that they weren't necessarily working to fight their demons.
Yeah.
They were just coping.
Yeah.
They were just trying to survive them. Where I was actually, in my opinion, fighting like I don't want to be like this. Like I want to be happy. I want an actual relationship with my family, but there are certain barriers in place that if no one's willing to speak about it, we cannot tear these walls down because you don't even acknowledge that they exist. So I just got to a point where I felt like I have to now fight you guys too because I'm fighting you just to get you to admit that we have a problem. Like we all know it exists,
Mhm.
but you don't want to speak about it. You don't want to acknowledge it. And so it's kind of hard to bridge that gap when I'm the only one, standing here with the tools and you're just waiting for me to build the bridge and waiting for me to come to you. But it's a two-way street.
Yeah. Yeah. You've said a lot. And I want people to understand that when she's speaking of demons, she's speaking of patterns, self-destructive patterns, patterns that stem from mental illness, patterns that stem from, things that are hereditary. What people need to understand in my life and in your life today, Monica, is that mental illness is hereditary. It doesn't matter how far you run. I ran to Paris, France to escape my family's demons. And that's exactly how I'm going to say it. And you know what those demons did? They hopped a surfboard and came right over the Atlantic, found my ass in the height of my career and said, no, bitch, you belong to us. Drug me down, and I ended up spending I was there 6 months. People do not know the last 2 months of my stay, I was in a psychological hospital. I was there and it was very hard. So let's break all of this down. Do you have a mental health diagnosis?
I have not officially been diagnosed. Because like I said, when I reached out about the things that I was going through, mental illness is something that is so very taboo to speak about in our community, in the Black community.
Mm.
So there was never really a way for me to get an official diagnosis. I would tell my family like, well, I feel this way, or I need a therapist because this isn't normal, to constantly have all of these mental breakdowns and to cry myself to sleep so many nights. And it's like, this is not normal. So I would ask for help to find a therapist because I don't know anything about therapy. Only thing I know is that a lot of people come to me with their problems. So I kind of played that role of therapist. So I kind of talk to myself,
Yeah.
but that doesn't always work. It just becomes an echo chamber.
Right.
So I do not have an official diagnosis, but based off of my mother and the patterns that I see in her and my grandmother and the other women in my family, I would probably say I have a touch of bipolarism,
Yeah.
bipolar, maybe manic depressive, probably on the, neurodivergent scale somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I got a lot of issues that have unofficially been diagnosed, but I do study enough for myself to know that, okay, these certain patterns align with these certain things. So for my sake, I would be safe to say this is kind of what's going on.
Okay. Now, so get this, Monica, the first thing I want you to do is, like you said, you've already recognized you can't depend on your family. So what you're going to have to do is all you have to do you have a well, yeah, you're on a cell phone right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when we're done, what you're going to do is you're going to look up nonprofit organizations that help with mental illness, because that's exactly what I did first. So I'm telling you what I did first. So what you have to do is you have to look up nonprofit organizations and see what their routine is, how they screen their patients, And then what you have to do is go and talk to somebody and get an official diagnosis. Because the thing about it is, and it's so, you are so right when you say that Black folk don't talk about these things. Monica, you followed me for a long time. There was a lot going on behind the scenes, but you guys, I brought social media into my life after I had a couple of good years of crying and being in therapy and taking medication and talking to a psychiatrist and a therapist. So things were on the up and up and starting to get better. But what I did not do, because I had to disappear, because I once was on YouTube, I had to come off of YouTube because even my following at that time, I was known for singing covers. They were like, something's wrong. What's going on? Acting weird, saying weird things. Somebody needs to check on him. Like, I got all of that. So what I ended up doing was, and it doesn't sound like you can, I ended up moving in with my grandmother. And my grandmother is an educator and she's also the matriarch. So she was the one that ended up helping me. Sadly, like you said, if the family acknowledged that there was a problem with me within me, it would mean that there was a problem in them and they didn't want to see that. You see, they didn't want to see that. So they fought her helping me. They fought her, like literally. My uncle jumped in her face. I had to move everything out of her house to another home. He jumped in her face and it was just all kinds of stuff over me being there. And what people do not understand about our families is there were other underlying issues. My uncle's been jealous of me since I was a little kid. And it first started when he was in love with Mariah Carey. And I thought I could trust him. And I felt comfortable in his space. And he was obsessed. He brought home her first Vision of Love album and he's singing all of her songs. And he was the performing artist. He was in school for it. And I felt comfortable and I hit one of her whistle notes. And the way he looked at me, Monica, and he looked at me and he said, "You can hit that?" And I just kind of like looked at him. I had already had abuse from a mother on drugs, a father absentee, so I just kind of looked at him. And from that point, it was a wrap. But what you need to do is, what you're going to have to do is form a support system. Do you have any friends? It's okay.
Not in my reality. Most of my friends are in other places. So I don't have really anyone close to me that I can physically, reach out to or physically see. All of my communication with my friends are typically done like through text message or through video call because they all live in different states.
Okay. Now, the reason why I asked this is, have you found a way to keep your apartment?
At the moment, no, I'm still trying, but I have not given that up. So I'm going to fight until I cannot fight anymore for my space because that is something that I worked and suffered for and sacrificed for a long, long time. So,
see, I like your drive. I lost my apartment because I couldn't work. I was that bad. It was that bad. I couldn't work. What it sounds like to me is you're still functional. That's good. That's very good. You haven't gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I can't do anything. So that's good. So then what you do is you're better off than I was because you're way more functional, which means you can get another job, take something in the area real quick to be able to pay your rent, keep it going while you look for something more substantial, you can do that. But as far as support system, the first thing I learned in therapy was I needed a support system. They needed to know who I could call if I was in trouble. And I remember when I first started, and it was so crazy because my grandmother and she had always been there for me. She had always been like, I remember being 5 years old, because that's the thing about mental illness. it shows throughout your life. It just comes to a head when you're around like 19, 20 or older. So I was already exhibiting signs. I was already being abused. It was already too much stress in my life for me to be a youngster. Like, it was just bad. So my grandmother always was the one. So I ended up having just one person on my list, which was my grandmother, because I couldn't rely on any other family. Now I'm going to ask a question. Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have one brother and technically five sisters, but I'm only gonna say four because the other one's not really proven, but
Yeah.
I have five sisters.
Yeah, but how? So you've already said you can't rely on your family. So I'm surmising that the relationship with your brothers and sisters isn't really good.
No, I don't really. Okay. Like I was the black sheep of
Mm.
my family.
Yeah.
Because like I was, as a trans person, I grew up masculine presenting.
Yeah.
So being that I was such a feminine child, it separated me
Yeah.
like from everybody else. Like I wasn't boy or manly enough to be like with the other guys,
Yeah.
and I was feminine enough, but I didn't look the part to fit in with the girls. And so it just kind of left me in this space of alone.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have my siblings. And then I'm the eldest too. So
Yeah.
I didn't really have them. And any bonding that we did, it was trauma bonding. And so as I'm releasing the trauma, those bonds are being broken. And it's like I don't really even know these people. Only thing we have in common is blood.
Kind of like mine. I don't talk to any of my brothers and sisters. And in March, my brother tried to kill me. So schizophrenia, he tried to kill me. Yeah, it was bad.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, listen, we go through what we go through. We go through what we go through. But the point is, I like what you said. We never stop fighting. We never stop fighting. I fought his ass for my life and I won. So, you know, what I'm realizing is there are probably organizations in your city that you can probably go to because you are a member of the community. You see, here in Philadelphia, because I'm from Philadelphia, we have all kinds of things for youth that are, in the community, LGBT plus community, Cube, IAP. And usually they can help with resources. They can even, honestly, I went and we have something here called the Mazzoni Center. And the Mazzoni Center, I was getting therapy for I was talking to a licensed therapist when I first started therapy because I tried to do it on my own. I didn't want to have to come back to my family, not even my grandmother at that time, because my attitude with my grandmother at that time, and I'm just going to be honest, was, you're the matriarch. Why did you let them do this to us? Why did you let them do this to us? And get it? It wasn't because she sat by. She worked all the time. So she wasn't there to witness what was going on. So I was still very, okay, I'm gonna say this is my show. I was very fucking angry with her. Okay. So it was like, then I realized as I got older and started to mature in my thinking, I realized, okay, she wasn't there because all these grown people in the house, she the only one with a job. So she's not here because she's got to pay for all of this. So yeah, that was what that was. But anyway, Mazzoni Center, I think I was getting therapy for like $12 a session. Yeah, $12 a session. And you're in Houston, right?
Yes.
Houston has a huge gay populace. As a matter of fact, I just want to see real quick while I got you. Houston, Texas. Centers. Okay. Oh, you guys have something called the Montrose Center. Houston. So I'll make sure I send you all of this. Like, I'm just like, I'm what I'm doing with you, even though I brought you on, is I wanted to get you some resources. That
Oh, thank you.
yes, that was the whole point. I wanted to get you some resources because, girl, you are not by yourself. And when you were in that video and you were crying, I needed you to know that you are not by yourself. We're gonna talk about other things, but I just want to make sure Houston has some things that I can, yeah, Outreach Pride Incorporated, Health Resource Center. Yeah, there's tons. So women's home, well, yeah, they got a lot of stuff. Because there's a huge gay populace, a huge trans populace, a huge queer, we'll just say huge queer populace in Houston. So that's good. So I'm gonna keep that up because at least I know that we have resources, and I'll talk to you more about that off camera. But I want to, like I said, the first thing to do, well, so the first thing to do is find a piece of job because you got to keep your apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. So after you find a piece of job to keep your apartment, then and this is the thing, Monica. See, this is the thing. Without generational wealth or help, you kind of can't split yourself into 3 people and get these things done.
Nope.
It's like you got to do one, then you got to do the next one, and then you got to do the next one. And ironically and unfortunately, that is the Black way. Every single generation is starting over. There's there's no wealth, there's no passing of anything. So every single person coming out of a Black home literally is coming out with nothing.
Mhm.
And that is so disappointing. That is very disappointing. And like I've even spoken to people about that. I've talked to my own family about that. My family's very nosy. I recently got a boyfriend, and my family members are calling about my boyfriend, but you're not calling about the drugs that you put in my orange juice that caused me to lose my SSI. And you're not offering to pay me the $700, $800 that I lost a month because you drugged me. And then I went and did a drug test in the hospital being admitted, and they said I was a drug dealer. And then the judge cussed me the fuck out in the courtroom and said, you're a drug addict and I'll never give you a check. But yet and still, oh, well, let your grandmother take care of you. And then when she decides to do that, why are you helping him? That you want to do that with your money, but not acknowledging that you took my money from me. I told you it, what you were saying resonated with me. I told you we was going to talk for real, girl. I told you we was going to talk for real. Okay.
I go through the same thing with my father. Cause he doesn't even acknowledge me, like, and he gets on like my grandmother, which is why I try not to ask my father's side of the family like for help, because I know, like, in terms of material things, yeah, okay, you can help when you can, and I'm so grateful and I'm so appreciative, but I'm not just a physical person.
Yeah.
I am a heart. I am
Yeah.
also a spirit. I am a soul. So there are things that are unseen, that are broken, and I need help to fix them.
Yeah. You're going to get the help you need. You're going to get it. You're going to get it and get it. You're going to get it. And what I love about this situation is sometimes all we have is us and God. Because I'm telling you, I sit here because God speaks to this mind. Because I'm going to tell you, I haven't been hospitalized in 16 years. I've been taking medicine and had therapy with a psychologist and psychiatrist for 16 years, and I still got to pray about this mind. There is no cure. And people do not understand that. And the thoughts of suicide and all that we go through, because it's like, damn, this is a really bad situation. And I can't even begin to think myself out of it.
Right.
Most of like, even with all of my success, I kind of had to heart my way through it. I couldn't use this. This was kind of compromised. So I had to kind of like use my heart and put my heart and soul into everything until I could get this together. Thank God I got it together. But like you said, I had my support system then became my friends. I actually had a mother and daughter duo call me last week. And they were in Paris, and they called me and they said to me, we just called to say that we love you because we remember you coming over here all by yourself. in this big old city that we are tired, we running around, can't find our way. And you was over here at 22 years old running around here by yourself. And I'm like, yeah, it's trying to make my life happen. And it seemed, Monica, it seemed like every time I tried to make my life happen, something came to knock me down. And it always was something to do with my family. It was never me. And I got real tired of that. Yeah, I got real tired of that. So that's why I'm talking to you, because you're my sister in solidarity. I know how you feel, and I'm still going to allow you to express it even more. But I've been there, Monica, and I called you on here and summoned you here because I needed you. I needed you to know. I needed you to know you're not by yourself. I needed you to know you are fighting. You're fighting for your life right now. Things are a little topsy-turvy. But let me tell you something. You wasn't built like Whitney Houston sang, like R. Kelly wrote. You weren't built to break. You were not built to break. And I find that all of us, like my boyfriend says, in the alphabet mafia, we have to be some strong cookies. He calls us the alphabet mafia, but we have to be some really strong cookies. But my point is to immediately get you some support. So that's why I got these things pulled up. It's because I definitely want, before I'm done with you today, I want you to know where you can go for help, because that is the most important thing. So anyway, you, even in that video, you talked about, suicidal thoughts, but you went even further. You talked about, when you mentioned suicidal thoughts, these people don't pay you any mind. And then you mentioned suicidal thoughts, and then they have the nerve to say to you something that totally pertains to their emotions and not really to the fact that you're feeling this way. Can you expound a little bit on that?
Yeah. So I've been suicidal since I was 5.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I tried to kill myself. Silly me thought it could happen by jumping like off the top of the stairs
Yeah.
because I went through a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
As a child, my mom was married to a military man, and back then they excused that type of abuse. So that's just something that comes with the territory of marrying a man in the military, because they're designed to be hard. And but I knew, rather at an early age, I was forced into this state of hyper awareness about myself.
Yeah.
And about how I moved through the world and how the world received me.
Yeah.
Because I was so different.
Yeah.
And once I figured that out, I understood that was the reason for a lot of the abuse. And so at 5 years old, one day I remember just thinking my stepfather literally used me as a footstool, made me sit in push-up position and put his feet up on my back and drinking beer, watching a football game. And I remember once my punishment was done, I stood at the top of the stairs and I'm like, if I can just jump high and far enough, I can go home.
Yeah. 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 You've been through a lot.
But it's like, as I get older and I'm able to articulate these feelings and say and pinpoint exactly what it is, it gets to the point where people aren't listening to the pain.
Yeah.
All you hear is the escape.
Yeah.
And you call me weak.
Yeah.
Or you say, oh, that's the coward's way out. Like, why would you kill yourself? People don't understand how strong you actually have to be to pull that trigger or to actually do that, because you're fighting against every sense of the body's natural instincts of self-preservation. You have to physically, emotionally, mentally override all of that in order to take yourself out.
Yeah.
But my thing is I've been screaming to you people since I was 5.
Yeah.
I am hurting.
Yeah.
I am in pain.
Yeah.
But you think just because I smile and I laugh and I'm bouncing off the walls and everything like that, that I'm okay. But it's like, no. And then when I say, like, I want to go home or I want to leave,
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're going to feel bad.
Yeah.
You're going to feel sad.
Yeah.
Don't you know we're going to miss you? How?
Yeah.
You've been missing me this whole time.
Yeah.
So what difference would it make if I'm not physically here? Because mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm not here. You don't know me. You know this body,
Yeah.
but you don't know my heart. You don't know my mind. You don't know my spirit. You don't know my soul. You don't know me. And so sometimes it just feels a little hypocritical,
Mhm.
or maybe that's not the word. It just feels a little, like you said, like, how dare you,
Mhm. Mhm.
kind of like take all of my pain and then try to give that back to me as if I'm inflicting that pain on you.
Mhm.
Like, I just don't understand how that works. As someone who has talked many of people off of a suicidal ledge, having to put my shit on the back burner to
Yeah.
then go and help other people and bring them down, it's like, where's my Superman? Where's that person to pull me down?
Yeah. You know what's so crazy? Even in all of that, that's the divine's way. Because this is the thing. If you get the practice of being strong for others innately, it's a practice. It'll bypass all of your sensories. And then what happens is you'll show up for yourself and not even realize that you were able to do it. So it's like those people that needed you, those people that you were strong for while you were breaking inside, it actually was for you, because it gives you the resolve that you will not break. I have, like, just 2 years ago, now mind you, haven't been hospitalized, been taking medicine. Just 2 years ago, I was suicidal, and this time had a method and was this close. And it was because my business, everything that I put into my business, you see, people see social media. No, I have a LLC behind this. I have a company behind this. And I went from having benefactors and having business partners that financially foot the bill to just it being me. And then having it seem like my business partners laughed in my face and said, "You'll never survive it." I was like, well, then God lied. I'm not supposed to be here to help everybody else. This is it. And I felt like it was it. And I said to the divine, if you want me here and you meant for me to do this, because I mean, people are calling me queen. I got the trademark. I did all the stuff right. I did it all right. And then for it to fall, the bottom to fall out. So I was like, if you want me to be here, you need to tell me why I should stay. And the divine spoke to me and said, I'm going to tell you why you want to leave. And he started to talk to me about being underappreciated. He started to talk to me about my generational curses. He started to talk to me about all those things that I had broken in my own family with my own life. He started to talk about how strong I actually was, that if I could show up for the world every single day, that would rub off on me, even if I didn't feel, even though I was the vessel. That people don't understand that. We do this even in Hollywood and music and fashion. We say, how could they have killed themselves? They were a great model, this, that, and the other. It's easier to show up for other people than it is to show up for you. It's easier because you get to kind of like you said, close off what you're dealing with for the second, handle that. It just means you have good skills when it comes to compartmentalizing. Doesn't mean that pain went anywhere. Doesn't mean that pain is not there and doesn't need to be addressed. And, for a long time, I mean, even now, even with my brother trying to murder me and my grandmother, he is schizophrenic. He was here a year. We tried and urged him to get help. I was like, you could go where I went, but he was 36 years old. I couldn't force him to do anything. And all he wanted to do was fight and argue with us. Then my sisters, both my sisters, I have my youngest sister is in therapy and takes care of her children. But the other one, I don't know what she's doing. And I'm gonna just say that. I don't know what she's doing because we are not in contact. I don't talk to her. Now I don't talk to my brother. There's a 3-year restraining order against him. So, and then my younger sister lives in Detroit. So it's like, and she did that because she herself was trying to run away from family situations and family shit. So it's like, okay, so we don't really talk. And then, I started doing this and it was like, okay, I'm focused on this, and this became everything to me. It was my reason for living at one point. And then when it started to be tampered with, I was like, oh, well, there's my reason to live, up, down the tubes. And I kept going. And you see, obviously I found a way. I'm still here. I found a way to continue to do this and to still have money coming in. And my family members, not my family members, my grandmother turns around and she's like, listen, I got to help you do this. She's like, and that was another thing. Is your family religious?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
it's both sides of my family, but the side that is willing to help, I mean, they're more loose with it now than my grandfather, the patriarch of the family. Like now that he's gone, because he's the one that kind of kept everybody in the church.
Yeah.
Now that he's passed away, I mean, they've gotten kind of loose with it, and I took that as like my signal to like, okay, well, Pawpaw's gone, so it's like I can be me, at least I can try. And so that's when I kind of made the switch, but still my father is like his father. And so they're just like, that's not of God, that's abomination. And
You know what's so crazy? I said, I've done a lot of work, and my work, get this, I'm not a millionaire yet, but I'm on my way, because the work that I've created, which I own, is worth millions of dollars. So I say this for a reason. I got into it with my grandmother at one point, and it was the same thing. She's very devout. She's very religious. And I said to her, I said, what do you do every day? And she said, I pray, I talk to God. I said, exactly. I said, what would make you think that I would choose something? That was my first thing. Choose something that would have me or cause me to be separated from the love of God for all eternity. When your people are talking about going to hell, I'm living it. I'm living it. So if there was a chance for me to get unconditional love from God, why would I do something to not have that? And she thought about that, and she stopped messing with me about the gayness. Then I hit her with this. I said, you're 75 years old. She said, yeah. You're a mastermind. You've been my tutor. You're an educator. You've taught children, adults, everything. You have a master's degree. You've done all that you've done. She said, yes. I said, then why did God make the gay one the millionaire? Why did God give the career to the millionaire? Your son is a devout prophet, prayer warrior, speaker, all of these things for God. And I'm the one that has the work that is worth so much value. Why is it that God gave it to the abomination? And I said to her, you don't think that's a signal to you? And our relationship started to drastically get better, because my grandmother is logical, and I appealed to her reasoning because I'm logical, and logically it didn't make any sense. So she had to think about it. Our families, it's so crazy. I don't talk to, other than my grandmother and 2 nephews that I help raise, I don't talk to anyone other than my aunt's wife, because I come from a family, they were all in the church, but they were the deny yourself kind of people to serve God. So because my grandmother's children, all 5 of her children, my mother was bisexual, and all the others were gay and lesbian. All of them. I had one uncle who passed of HIV when he was 40 back in 2006. Yeah, the others are alive and well. And my aunt is married to a woman. And it's so funny because I don't talk to my aunt, but I talk to her wife. Her wife is more supportive than she is. And even when I put up the notification about being in a relationship, excuse me, her wife did what she was supposed to do. She said, "Congratulations, nephew," and moved on. My aunt calls my grandmother and is like, "Oh, BJ's in a relationship. Is he moving out?" Like she's trying to pump and my grandmother's like, "I didn't even know he was in a relationship because I didn't tell my grandmother." For that reason, I want to, and get it, it was an exercise for my grandmother because me and my grandmother are cool. So I needed her to understand, you see who you still tied to? I will not have this in my life. Do you see what's going on here? Can you see it for yourself? I didn't tell you for a reason. And I come downstairs and she's like, "Are you in a relationship?" I'm like, "Yes." She said, "Well, I found out through your aunt." I said, "Exactly. Exactly. Exactly." It's so funny how so many people, I don't like when people pretend to care. I don't like
Yeah.
it. I don't like that. I don't like when they pretend to care and do absolutely nothing. That's why I asked you on here, because when this goes off, we're going to sit here and get this together. We're going to find some help centers. We're going to find some things because that was what was done for me. And that's what I can give. You know, people are like, "Oh, well, you're a mentor. This is that and the other." This is not a mentor situation. This is an emergency situation because I don't want to lose you. You are like, listen, you said it. Listen, I had to go to therapy to learn to put the words to my emotions. You, through your own study, have learned to put the words to your own emotions. Like even in that video, you were articulating your pain and I sat there like, I was blown away because it wasn't just crying. It wasn't screaming. You were saying everything. I think I even did a duet to it because it was just like, you need to hear this because she's not the only one. And I'm gonna let you know, there's gonna be people watching it. You and I are not the only ones. Mm-mm, 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 not the only ones. So asking, I don't want, and it's the thing, I don't really want to ask too many questions because I know how trauma works. You know, I don't want you to sit here and have to relive your trauma. I don't want that. So that's why we're talking and I'm not really going into that. You know, I do want to know this. When you feel like that, when you get that low, what brings you out of it? Because you're still here.
Um, Usually it's just me talking to myself as I did in that video because I have those conversations with myself
Yes.
a lot.
Mhm.
And that was the first time I've ever recorded it. I
Mhm.
don't know what made me do it. It was just something in me was like, just document this moment and put it out there.
Mhm.
Because surely, you know, like you say, like I'm not the only one. And so I did that. But I have those conversations with myself at least once a week. Like I get there at least once, maybe twice a week. And my cousin, the one that, you know, I kind of got into it with, she started to see it because she was around me more. And I remember one day, she said to me, she said, "I didn't know you was dealing with all that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't show it. I don't like to be in pity mode all the time
Yeah.
because then other people get depressed. I know how energy works. I don't want to project that energy onto anyone else. And so whenever I have those moments, I will walk off. I will do my crying. I will say my little speeches in my head, and I will come back, and you will never know anything has ever happened. But now I'm not necessarily able. Well, it's not that I'm not able, it's just I'm not really in the mood to
Yeah.
map it anymore.
Yeah.
because it's like this this is me, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is a real part of what I deal with. Like, yes, I'm the goofy girl. Yes, I'm the one that will do anything to make people laugh when they're sad or when I recognize they're in pain. But I'm still hurting too. Like, I'm not, I may wear a cape to some people, but I'm not Superwoman. Like, I'm not invincible. I need help too.
Yes.
And so that kind of made her feel bad because she thought I was lying to her
Mm-hmm.
this entire time because she caught me unmasking one day when I was at work. Like I just couldn't, I couldn't keep it together. And she's like, wow, I feel like you've been lying to me this whole time. So you've been faking. And I'm like, no. But would you rather me sit here in your face and cry all day and tell you how I don't want to live and tell you how like I'm tired of being treated like this? I'm tired of you treating me like this. Like I'm tired of my mom, like the world. Nobody wants to listen to that every day, all day. So I don't speak that
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like living in that energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk to myself and I pull myself out of it. Sometimes I'll cry until I pass out. I'll scream until I can't scream into my pillow anymore. I'll take a nap. I will wake up and it will be a brand new day. I will wake up and just start laughing like, ah, like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes it legitimately makes me feel crazy. But if that's what I have to do, you know, to still kind of be here and keep trucking on one more day, then that's just what I got to do.
And what's so beautiful about that? You had never done that before. You had never documented it before. And look what happened. Look where you are. Look who you're talking to. The one time you decide, I'm going to document this, I saw it. And now look what we're doing. I tell you, the divine is an awesome being, and he loves us all. I cannot wait until the day when all things are revealed and that he reveals, oh, you remember these gay people over here? Oh no, they my angels. These trans people, you see these wings? They're mine. They're special. They may not be church. Y'all got your own position in the garden somewhere, but these are my angels. They're around me all the time. Like I just can't wait because I too, because of my family, would doubt. But then I would say to myself, there is no way that the divine would give me all of the things that I say, because all of those things that I have ever said in videos are inspired by, like you said, your conversations with yourself. I speak to that divine part of myself. And guess what? One day, 6 years ago, I turned on the camera for the first time and documented what was going on in my private time. That is the beginning of change, because the first thing you can do is let people out here know what you're dealing with, because help can't enter if you don't let the right people know you need help. And that's the thing, you're hoping, and that's the thing, and that's what's so hard about mental illness, because you're hoping your family supports you because you feel kindred with them. And people don't understand when they don't help you, the way that you feel, the oh my God. I remember one time I called my aunt, my other aunt, because she's a twin. I called my other aunt. She's at work, and I told her, I'm like, I'm standing like on a busy street in the middle of the ghetto, and I'm not usually from there. I'm barefoot. I'm walking around barefoot, and she's like, stay where you are. I'm sending your uncle. Now, mind you, she sent the uncle I didn't like, but he kind of helped me. And this was the funny thing. Did I really need his help? No, because guess where I was? At a payphone right next to the hospital. Didn't really need his help. Saw him and then kind of went into the hospital. And my thing was, I would always be walking around because that's what I did. I wandered when I was ill. I wandered, even in Paris, I wandered. And I would always wander into a hospital. And that was God for me. He always let me, it didn't matter. I'd wander all night, all these different boroughs, all these different ghettos, all these different areas where I could have been hurt, looking like this outside of the wig. I still got this body. I'm slender, you know, walking around, looking all feminine, cat walking all tall like a supermodel, walking through the ghetto. You know, walking through the ghetto, could have easily been raped, could have easily had a lot of things happen. But every single time, he let me walk into a hospital. And the craziest thing is, I'd walk into the hospital emergency room and lose it. I would just start coming undone because I would recognize that I was in a place where they could help me, and I just let it all rip. Screaming, crying to the ground, whatever. And my uncle told them, like, and this was the crazy thing, my uncle told them, oh, we think it's drugs, like my mother. Oh, we think he's doing drugs. And I remember when they held me down and they put the IVs in my arms and in my legs, and they're trying to pull out whatever it is that they think is in me. And they literally looked at him and said, sir, are you sure? Because there's nothing in here but water. And then I managed to be able to say to the doctor, I'm bipolar. And then she looked at my uncle and was like, oh, he's bipolar. They go like this. They go like this. And yeah, and it was so great because I went to sleep. They gave me medicine to make me sleep because that was one thing I don't do when I'm manic. I don't sleep. So they gave me medicine to sleep. Now, mind you, they had to give me enough medicine to knock out a horse because I was very manic. But the best part of it was waking up and having my uncle not be there. That was the best part, not be there. And then they take me up to the psych ward, I get a bed, and I'm like, and that was the craziest thing, because I don't want you or anyone else to have to go into the hospital to get, because it's hard when you come back out, you know, you got to try to start all over. And it's like, no, we want to make sure you get the help so you don't lose everything. Because that's what happened to me. I had a beautiful home in the center of the city. I was living good job, you know, and lost it all. We don't want that to happen. That doesn't need to happen. Because it's like, if they're not helping you now, they damn sure ain't gonna help you then. You know, it's like they damn sure ain't gonna help you then. But it just was so crazy, because it's just like, I always felt best when I was not around them. So now that I'm out here in the world doing what I'm living and shaking, they pay more attention to me than I pay to them. They're always monitoring. They're always leaving comments. They're always doing that. And I told my grandmother, I was like, you know, you tell me not to block them, but they about this close. They about this close. They about this close.
Yeah, I got that point. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. You were right. That's what I was waiting for. You said it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got that point with my family too, because I used to write like a lot of poetry back in the day, but I haven't really written in a while. And that was one way for me to like express my pain, because I had this weird thing with camera. Like because in addition to, you know, in my head being bipolar, manic, depressive, I also have anxiety really bad. Mm-hmm. And like I have body dysmorphia really bad, and as well as gender dysphoria. So sometimes everything just gets me all at once. Yeah. And I remember one time I wrote a poem titled, Can You See Me? And I poured out all of my pain into these words. And one of my aunts wrote, wow, that's a really pretty poem. You should write a book. And I'm like, did we read the same word? Like, huh?
Wow.
It got to the point where a lot of the things that I would vocalize out of frustration, you know, lashing out, ended up getting back to people that it was never meant to get to. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, y'all messy. Yeah. Y'all messy. Block. Mm-hmm. And then I started getting talked to by my grandmother, like, oh, you blocked Aunt so-and-so, you blocked cousin so-and-so. I'm like, yeah, I blocked them. Because they messy. They don't tell you the good things that's going on. They just tell you all the bad things. Yeah. Like, I've gotten into, I threatened to have to whoop my dad's ass like a couple times. Yeah. Because something that I posted on Facebook was taken completely out of context And now we're at a family reunion and you're texting me like you want to fight me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, over a pair of shorts
Yeah.
that I bought
Yeah.
with my money
Yeah.
that I worked for.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, let's go.
Yeah.
But,
I've been
and
there.
it's so sad to get to that point because it's like, even though I do, like I say, like I hate that man with everything in me, I don't. Like
Mhm.
I want a relationship with my dad. Like I want my father.
Mhm.
But that's just something that I'm gonna have to learn to live without. And it's sometimes the way that family protects those who put you in pain, it causes you to look at them in a different way. Because it's like, yeah, you say you love me, and yes, sometimes you help when I really need it, like physically, but how much do you really care? Because you know what we have going on, and you dismiss all of that, even though you see how much pain I'm in.
Yeah.
So how much do you really care?
Yeah.
And sometimes it just makes me feel like a lot of things are either fake or you only do it to atone for what has been done, but you just don't necessarily want to say that that's what it is,
Yep.
if that makes any kind of sense.
Oh yeah, it makes a lot. You speak in my family language. You speak in my family's language, and I too live with anxiety. Yep. I take medicine every day for anxiety. Every single day. Every single day, even doing this, even happy on the cusp of this, on the this or that, contracts coming in, being asked to do all of this, and I'm still taking my anxiety medication. But you know what I love? Even when you couldn't get to a doctor, even when you couldn't get to a facility, even when you couldn't do all of that, God put the answers right into you with the vocalization and the conversations, like the words. My nephew, he came from a very abusive situation as well at the hands of one of my siblings as his parent. And I remember him not being able to vocalize what was going on. And then I remember him trying to fight the people that were trying to help him. I scuffled with that boy on my kitchen floor so many times, and I never hit him. But I would grab him and try to hold him to me because he's swinging, tearing up my kitchen, all because of what's going on in his head. And I would grab him and just go down to the floor. And literally every single time he had one of those fits, we would end with me consoling him as he cried on the floor of the kitchen. It just was so, it's so, like you said, it's so crazy. And like you said something that is so true that I'm going to put that note in my little pocketbook, is because I like how you said the way they protect the people that cause you the pain. Because that's what it is. Me and my grandmother have even gone back and forth over my aunt, because I'm like, she did this. She did this. I would have money in my pocket. We're talking 16 years of collecting $800 a month. You do the math. You wouldn't have to give me shit. You wouldn't have to give me shit. But then you look at me like I'm too much of a burden. But you protect the person who put us both in this situation. All right. Okay. Let's change gears, because clearly we live in the same life. We live in the same life. Clearly we live in the same life. Okay. So you know it ain't you. And I know it ain't me. It's these other people. Okay.
Right.
I'm glad I got you laughing, because honey, yes, laugh about this shit, because we live past this. Skip to page 30 of the book. We live past this.
Yes,
We survive this because we're strong people. That's what we do. Earth angels, we survive this. So I want to know from you how you feel today. Do you feel like you can keep going on? I need to make sure that you can.
Yeah, it's like I've been in this cycle pretty much my entire life. Like there's been a constant cycle of death and rebirth and death and rebirth, and which each, you know, death and rebirth comes a new understanding and a new clarity. There's just more that I'm able to hold and to realize. So I know that this moment too shall pass.
Mhm.
It's just, it's really, really hard when you're in these trenches
Mhm.
and you're alone,
Mhm.
but then you have people telling you constantly, oh, I'm here with you, I'm here with you, I'm here with you, like I'm fighting with you, you're not by yourself. But then you look back on all those nights that you literally have to cry yourself to sleep because nobody wants to listen, because they all they hear is anger
Mhm.
and the lashing out. All they see is the swinging and the cursing and but they don't see the pain that
Underneath.
you're fighting. Yeah. And so it's like, no, I'm here by myself.
You know what?
But
My therapist would say, you have the gift of resiliency. And my grandmother says the same thing about me. You're a phoenix. You keep bursting into flames and being reborn. You're a phoenix. And phoenix is one thing about the fire of a phoenix. Now you have to understand that the fires, or the premise of a phoenix. It's a mythical bird of fire. The tears have healing power, and we can carry extremely large loads. But also, if you're a bird of fire, can anybody touch you for real? Mm-mm. So my thing is, I'm glad that, and it's kind of crazy, but you have developed your own way of getting through it. Like that, like this is what you've had to do your entire life. And honestly, therapists would commend you for that, because other people, lesser strengthened people, wouldn't be able to do that. That would be, my therapist would tell you to take that as a sign that you are stronger than you think. Stronger. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I told her no, because I'm expecting some really big boxes from Hollywood, because I have a couple of friends that are actresses, and they're
oh,
sending me hair and all this other stuff. And
congratulations.
thank you. And you know, they love me. So there's multiple boxes. So I told her to call me if there were boxes, and she's screaming her head off. And I just want to make sure that my stuff is all right.
You having an interview?
Yes, ma'am. I'm on camera right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm really sorry.
That's
I thought
okay.
you.
That's all right. I love you. I'll come down after I'm done. All right. It's okay. You don't have to say you're sorry like that, Granny. False alarm. False alarm. But see, it's my show. I could do that. I could do that because but I'm gonna tell you, me and my grandmother got in this house. We lived together. We worked on our relationship because it was not like this. It was not, because, and I'm just gonna say this, for years she protected the people that did me pain. For years. There was even a time when this same aunt had committed identity theft against me, and me and a friend of mine who was a lawyer were putting together a case. My grandmother warned her, and my aunt came in and stole all the files for the case.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, girl. Girl, I'm trying.
Now, see, that had me wanting to fight.
See, well, get this. What I ended up doing was I just disappeared. And then when they were looking for me, we haven't heard from him. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And nobody knew. Except my brother. My brother's like, damn it, y'all. I didn't care about him. No way. Why do you care where he is? And they're like, we care. And he's like, he's in France. Gagged all of them. Gagged them all. It was like, gagged all of them. I wasn't coming back at all. But because I wasn't medicated. I wasn't managing my career. You know, I started to have, or my mental health, my career suffered. I got over it, but it's okay. Cause I like you said, resilience. I snapped back. I'll be 40 this year and I got my career back. Child, took me some time, but I got my career back. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
Listen, I got my career and get it. You be careful with your family because they'll tell you things. Oh, you belong by yourself, and oh, this, that, and the other. And no, I got my career this year. I've had my career a couple of years now, but I got the man of my dreams this year. Like, I'm like, things are on the up and up. And the reason why I'm telling you this is not to differentiate, well, you're suffering and I'm this. No, it's to give you hope. It's to give you hope. You're strong enough to do this. We're going to sit up there and we're going to sit on this camera a little longer, like after we go off, because I'm going to end it. And we're going to sit on this camera and we're going to look up some resources. That's what we're going to do, because that's what I came here to do. When I heard what was going on, when I saw the video that you recorded, first of all, thank you for recording it, because you not only spoke to me, but you spoke to a lot of other people, and people will see it and it's going to touch a lot of people, because it's just like so many people are feeling the same way you did, the same way I did, and for you to be brave enough to put that out there. And you put that out there not at a moment where you were calm. You put that out there at the thick of the pain, right there in that moment. You were just pouring out your heart. And that's what touched the hell out of me. It touched the hell out of me. And get this, I usually ask my guests to give me 3 words that inspire and empower them. But with you, I want you to give me 3 things in your life, whether present or something that you want in the future, 3 things that are worth living for.
Woo.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Because for one, like, I wake up every day like, damn, I never expected to live this long.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I would say peace,
Mm-hmm.
freedom,
Yeah.
and self-love. Like, as much as that kind of pains me to say, self-love.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So
It comes.
those are 3 things.
Yeah, but it comes. It comes, and it's going to come to you. And I'm going to end this because we got to get these. I want to get you some real help. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the vocal stylings of Miss Monica Moore. Now, mind you, you have already done it. You've already started it. Tell these people, because it was beautiful, even though it was your pain, tell these people where they can find you on social media to follow you or to even assist if they want to.
I'm on Instagram at Monica Monet, or MONICA MONEE, or TikTok Monica Moore 111.
Yes. So don't go anywhere. Say goodbye to the people, but don't go anywhere.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome, sweetie. So welcome. So did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget to cash at me at the Queen of Shade. I am your favorite content creator, right? Right. You want to see more of this content, right? Right. Cash at me. I love you. Mwah.
I've got my black stilettos on. Don't you make me take them off. I'm assuming first position. Gonna show you I'm a boss. I've been given 60 seconds just to put my thing down. I'll have you wanting my stilettos by the time I turn around. Turn that TV down.